This is a story about ambition, about breathtaking innovation, and ultimately about the incredibly high cost of unchecked power.
Think about it. In just a handful of years, one man's idea would go on to reshape entire cities, economies, even the very rhythm of our daily lives. But here's the thing. That same relentless drive that built an empire, well, it would also become the very seed of its destruction.
Yeah, this is a tale of a modern empire, one built not from steel or stone, but from a single app, a single tap on a smartphone. So, this is the story of the rise and the spectacular fall of Travis Kalanick.
Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. Before the empire, before all the billions, there was just a man. A man who was, kind of obsessed with breaking things just so he could build them back better. You see, Kalanick's early career, it was a real trial by fire. First, he had a startup that was literally sued into oblivion. Then, a comeback, selling his next company for millions. And then, then came a cold Paris night back in 2008. He's stuck, no taxi anywhere in sight. And that single moment of frustration, that's what lit the fuse for a revolution.
And the idea he came up with? It was deceptively simple, almost magical. Push a button, get a ride. But see, it wasn't just about convenience. Not at all. This was about fundamentally rewiring the very fabric of urban life itself. And from that idea, the ascent was, it was brutally fast. When Uber finally launched in 2010, it wasn't some gentle entry into the market. No, this was an unapologetic, all-out conquest. So at first, it was all about these sleek, black cars for the elite. But Kalanick's vision, it was so much bigger than that. He wanted transportation to be as reliable as running water, for everyone, everywhere. And to get there, he fought. Man, did he fight. He fought cities, he fought regulators, he fought entire industries. And you know what? For a long, long time, he was winning. I mean, just let that number sink in for a second. $50 billion. In just 5 years, Uber's valuation didn't just grow, it absolutely exploded. This made Kalanick more than just a CEO. He was a full-blown Silicon Valley rock star. And his personal mantra really became the company's ethos. Always be hustling. See, this wasn't just some catchphrase they hung on an office wall. It was literally in the company's DNA. It was the brash, the brilliant, and, let's be honest, the absolutely brutal strategy that defined every single move they made. But here's the thing about fire. The same fire that forges an empire, it can also burn it right to the ground. And Uber, it was growing way too fast, fueled by nothing but raw aggression. There were simply no brakes. Internally, they even had a name for it. They called it principled confrontation. But what did that really mean? Well, it was a pretty simple strategy. Fight everyone and win at all costs. So inside Uber's gleaming headquarters, a really toxic environment started to fester. Arrogance wasn't just tolerated, it was rewarded. Ethics, those were just seen as obstacles. And Travis? He seemed to thrive right in the very center of the chaos that he himself had created. And then it happened, the turning point. A dashcam video leaks to the public, and it shows Kalanick sitting in the back of one of his own cars, arguing with his own driver. And his tone, it wasn't just firm, it was cold, dismissive, utterly ruthless. For the whole world to see, the mask was finally off. That one video, it opened the floodgates. Suddenly, whispers became screams. We're talking allegations of widespread harassment, a deeply toxic workplace, lawsuits piling up, federal investigations. It was all coming out. The world was finally seeing the rot, right at the core of Silicon Valley's golden child. So, the pressure from investors, from the public, even from his own board, it just became this unbearable weight. The company he built, it was in a complete freefall. And then, the unthinkable happened. The man who really was Uber, the founder who built this global behemoth from literally nothing, was cast out, exiled from the very kingdom he created. Now, in his mind, this was the ultimate act of betrayal, a total stab in the back. But for the company he founded, the company that was bleeding out from 1,000 self-inflicted wounds, for them,
It was the only path to survival. And so Kalanick walked away a billionaire. He got the money, but he left behind a legacy that became a symbol of something much, much darker. A chilling example of what happens when you have incredible vision, but zero virtue.
And that really is the great paradox of his entire story, isn't it? His greatest strength, that relentless, world-breaking ambition, it was also the very source of his own destruction.
Ultimately, Kalanick's story, it forces us all to ask a really fundamental question. And it's not just about technology, it's about us. In our constant race for progress, for the next big thing, what is the real cost? What is the price we pay for innovation when it's completely divorced from integrity?